Welcome to the Ambitious Bookkeeper podcast.
When you set up your books in Xero, you will likely be given a default chart of accounts. A chart of accounts is simply just the different categories that you're going to categorize each transaction that comes in through your bank account to make up your profit and loss and your balance sheet. It's really important to understand what type of accounts you are creating, whether it's an income account or revenue, an expense account, or an asset or a liability or equity. If you need help understanding any of these, please comment below the video or do a little search on what those all mean. But you're going to need to know what type of account it is that you're trying to add to your chart of accounts. Sometimes the default chart of accounts that comes in your Xero file is enough, but I found occasionally there's times when we need to add a category or at least change what it's called so it makes more sense to the business owner or whoever is going to be looking at the reports. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to modify your chart of accounts if you already have one set up, and a few little tips and tricks along the way. My name is Serena. I run an accounting firm for online businesses, online entrepreneurs, creators, and e-commerce sellers. And we primarily do that using this software, Xero, which I'm going to be showing you today. If you are interested in working together, you can check the description below this video or go to upcoursefinancial.com to contact us. All right, let's get into it, shall we? Now, earlier I talked about how there weren't some accounts that we want to have set up. So let's go add some accounts to our chart of accounts and then come back to this bank reconciliation. So under accounting, you want to choose chart of accounts. And I'm going to open a new tab so that I can keep this screen open and remember some of the things I left notes on. So here we are at our chart of accounts. This one was the default chart of accounts when the client set up their Xero file. My preference is to import our own chart of accounts for all of our clients. We have a numbering format that we prefer, and we have certain accounts that most of our clients need on their books with the industry that they work in, and that is online business. So first things first, I like to make sure everything is clean and every account is assigned a number. So we're going to go in and update our checking account and our credit card account. So checking accounts are always, the first account is always 1,000. And then we're going to save that. If you need to update, add an account number, anything like that, you can do that here. We're going to go ahead and save that. And then this one is a credit card. Even though it says bank, we're going to choose the credit card type. We're going to rename this to Chase Credit Card. And the code we're going to give it is going to be 2050. And the reason I'm choosing that is because the 2000s is where the liability accounts start. And so this is my accounting and corporate days coming through. I'm just a stickler with how I number things, and that number is not taken. It's a little bit before another liability account. It's after accounts payable, which is always the first liability account. So I'm gonna click save on that. It says it's available, so we're good with it. Now those accounts are numbered. Things are a little cleaner now. I'm happy. Now we can go in and add the accounts that we wanted. So we're going to click add account. And the first account that we wanted to add was software. And I like to create an account called Office and Software. That way, especially for our online businesses, there's usually not a lot of office supplies that need to be purchased when you run an online digital business, but there's some. So we like to have a category for that, but we group it with software. You could break it apart if you wanted, but I think the fewer chart of accounts, GL account codes we have, the better. So this account type is an expense. It's going to show up on our profit and loss. And the coding that we want to use, I'm going to scroll down on the chart of accounts to see what other expense categories we have and what their numbers are. We always want it to be in the 6,000s if it's an operating expense. And so I'm going to look at it from a standpoint of where do I care if it goes in. There's not really a rhyme or reason to how these are numbered and listed out. They're not necessarily in alphabetical order, so it doesn't really matter what number you choose. You just have to choose a unique number in the 6,000s. So I'm going to make it 6050. And I'm going to name it Office and Software Expense. And if you want to add a description, you can do that here. And this is also the area where if it's an account that you want to keep a close eye on, you can add it to your dashboard. You can check that if you'd like. We're going to keep this at 0 in the US. We don't tax purchases, so that's always 0. If you are going to be doing expense claims, you can check that. This is an account that you might have on someone's expense claim. So I'm just going to go ahead and check it. You don't need to enable payments to this account. We'll probably get into that in another video. But for the most part, most of your GL accounts, you don't want to enable payments to unless it's a bank account. So we're going to click Save. And then the other account that we wanted to add was, let me go back here and check because my memory is that bad, was internet. So again, it's going to be an expense account. The other thing is there's not a utilities account. So we could create a utilities account or just create an internet account. So I'm just going to create 6060. It's the next one after the one I already created pretty much in order. And I'm going to call it Internet and Telecom. And we'll add that to expense claims too, just in case. And then you hit save. And that's how you add accounts to your chart of accounts to give you more options to code things. Like I said before, the preference is to actually do as few as possible because then there's less room for categorizing things incorrectly and inconsistently. Once you've added all the accounts that you want, you can go back to your banking screen and we're going to refresh so that those accounts are now in there to be selected, and then you can use them. Thanks for tuning into this video. If you found it helpful, please comment below. If you are ready to work with my firm, please go to ofcoursefinancial.com. If you're a bookkeeper or an accountant, go to ambitiousbookkeeper.com to see how I can help you start or grow your own online firm. All right, that's it for now. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in to this video. If you found it helpful or want to say hi, drop a comment below. If you're an online entrepreneur, creator, e-commerce seller, head over to ofcoursefinancial.com to see how we can help you with training or taking over your accounting and helping you have better visibility into your numbers. If you're a fellow bookkeeper and accountant, head over to ambitiousbookkeeper.com to see how I can help you start or grow your firm.